about the gunpowder when he suggests him one remedy that he can kill thousands of people if he know how to make gunpowder. And king was very much surprised because here his height is 60 feet, and he thinks that how can such a little person think about killing so many people, and therefore he makes such kind of comment. And after listening the history, the most famous statement he speaks that we have in book number 2, he says that the kind of people that you have in country, the kind of narration that you have given, by that I can conclude that the mankind about whom you are speaking, they are the most pernicious race of little odious vermin that nature ever suffered to crawl upon the surface of the earth. So in book number 2, the satire is not on politics, but it is on mankind. And with that, if we look at book number 3, then now satire means it goes from mankind to science. In book number 3, the satire is on various aspects of science. It is on learning, it is on politics, it is on the contemporary life. In the third book, we are taken to the voyage to Lapota. There is a satire on human intellect, human mind, and on science, philosophy, and mathematics. However, his satire is not very bitter. We are greatly amused by useless experiments and researches which are going on at Academy of Projectors in Lugado. Here scientists wants to extract sunbeams out of cucumbers to convert human excrement into original food, to build a house from the roof downward to the foundation, to obtain silk from cobwebs, and to produce books on various subjects by the use of machines without having to exert one's brain. Their heads were inclined either to the right or to the left. One of their eye turned inward and the other directly up to zenith. Next. Swift amuses us by making a fun of the people whose sole interest are music and geometry. He writes, they made a lot of theories but practically nil. Swift here ridicules scientists, academics, planners, intellectuals, in fact, all people who proceed only according to theory, which are useless when they come to actual practice. He satirizes historians and literary critics, though Gulliver's interviews with the ghost of famous dead. The point of satire is that historians often distort facts and literary critics often misinterpret great authors like Homer and Aristotle. If we come to the last book, in book number 4, we have very strange creatures like Honihims and Yahoos. In the fourth voyage to Honihims, there is a bitter, poignant satire on human moral shortcomings. The voyage contains some of the most corrosive and offensive satire on mankind. By contrast, the Honihims are noble and benevolent horses who are governed by reason and lead an ordered life. It is indeed a bitter criticism on the human race to be compared by the Honihims. Next. He speaks of the numerous deadly weapons employed by European nations for destructive purpose. Many people in his country ruin themselves by drinking, gambling, and debauchery, and many are guilty of murders, theft, robbery, forgery, and rape. The master speaks of the Yahoos' love of shining stones, their gluttony, their weakness for liquor. The master also speaks of the behavior of the female Yahoos, By contrast, the Honi hymns are excellent beings. Next, please. So, if we look at all the four books, we can say that Swift purpose here is to attribute to horses. If we look at especially on book number 4, then here Swift purpose is to attribute to horses certain qualities which would normally be expected in human beings but which are actually lacking in them. Gulliver's reaction to Honi hymns fills him so much admiration for them and with so much hatred and disgust for human beings that he has no desire even to return to his family. So, if we look at all the four books of Gulliver's Travels, then we can say that Gulliver's Travels is a great piece of art. Slide, please. It's a great piece of art containing social satire in it. Every satirist is at heart a reformist. Swift also wants to reform the society by pinpointing the vices and the shortcomings in it, and he very successfully satirizes on political tactics, physical awkwardness, intellectual fallacies, and moral shortcomings. That's all, friends.
We are trying to focus. What we did was we tried to discuss about the literary tendencies of Augustan age, about the major satirist Juvenal, Horace, and all. We try to focus on the political scenario of the Augustan age, about the age in which Gulliver's Travels was written. Why this was very much required was because Gulliver's Travels is basically known as a political satire, and to understand why Gulliver's Travels is a satire, we need to understand about the political scenario of that particular era. We came to know about Tory party, the Whig party, about Walpole, about the kings and the queens, the Lilliputians, and about the four voyages, the four journey that he undergoes. And in these four journeys, he experiences several things.
Satirize mankind.
He satirizes basically mankind, and we should not forget what Madam said, that basically the job of a satirist is to reform. He wants to improve the society, and thereby what was lacking into the society in which Swift was living, he tried to reform it through the book that was very famous in among the small babies and all. On and all, it was a very nice experience. I would like to really thank you, madam, for discussing this. That's all from the BISEC we have. Thank you.